All right, we're still here. Don't worry, we'll get out midway for this part.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert! The game. Spoiler alert! The game has credits. I mean,
So
come on, Pips.
Well, Pedro, sometimes some games don't have credits.
So for a bit of background here, this hospital was apparently ground zero for the virus hitting in Seattle, which means that, anything down here has had plenty of time to fester and really get screwed up.
I don't know about that, and quite frankly, I don't really care. Moving on.
I'm just talking about backstory regarding this game, at least.
Sure.
That's what the wiki mentions. Trust me, that's all build up for what we're about to run into.
Oh, here you go. It's right at the beginning. All right, everybody. Now this is the point. This is the point where the franchise jumps the shark officially.
Oh no!
Oh my god, a stretcher fell out of an ambulance. The game's ruined forever.
That's not what I mean. Not to mention, trust me,
Don't worry.
what's about to happen is not what ruins the game, devs. It's only one of many things that, combined with all the others, ruins the game.
I was about to say, a lot has happened that just doesn't sit right with me.
Well, no, trust me, Shiroi. I mean, obviously, compared to the transphobia stuff and, a lot of the other stuff, obviously, this is not as bad as that, but this is also bad in its own way.
I wasn't even talking about just that. I mean, just with everything.
Again, your mileage may vary. As for me personally, in a sea of terrible things, I actually like what we're about to come across,
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Rat King. Basically, guys, this is what happens when an infected remains alive for 20 years. Apparently, it starts spawning multiple new life...
Tentacles?
Not tentacles, Shiroi. Arms and new heads. So basically, Shiroi, apparently, eventually, the infection will get to a point where it starts procreating itself.
Okay.
I couldn't see what limbs they were exactly, so I just, yeah.
Actually, believe it or not, those aren't tentacles. Basically, what
Don't worry,
happens
Shiroi,
is
you'll be able to take a closer look right now.
Okay, allow me to explain. Those are actually multiple...
There you go.
If I may.
Sure. I'm not stopping you.
In isolation, this is actually a pretty scary design.
Let Jova finish, Libs. Go ahead, Jova.
Basically, the Rat King is what occurs when several different cordyceps get merged into one because apparently they're so much like fungi, they all get merged together. Basically, Shiroi, what you're looking at is a less family-friendly version of, well, one of the gem mutants from Steven Universe. It's literally a bunch of zombies all merged into one.
I do agree with
hodgepodge.
Yeah. Again, this is the kind of boss you would find in a Resident Evil game, like me and Joe have been talking about. But again, for this franchise, it just feels out of place. Like it's literally like, oh, this is literally a moment where where they literally going, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we just had this super big infected boss that's like multiple arms and multiple heads? Well, I guess you can argue that it's cool, but at the same time, but just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should, because this feels just so out of place with everything we've seen in this franchise up until this point. I mean, I understand the idea that the infection can potentially reach this point, I get that, but I don't know, just having this right here in the game is, like, comparison to everything else, it just feels so silly and over the top in comparison.
Yeah, in a sense, I can kind of see the logistics for it, the idea that, like fungi, they'll eventually merge together, and I guess, they became so plant-like that eventually they merged into one. And I'll admit, for as realistic as Last of Us is, it is still a series where you can become something as outlandish looking as a bloater, so... Me personally, I don't really see it as that bad a thing, and like I'll say this right now.
Sorry guys, my finger is slipping again.
Because this game, good for you. For as much, again, that's the thing. Honestly, this is actually one of the few times we get something new with the infected. Oh, speaking of which, I actually did a bit of research, Pedro. Apparently, we were wrong about the stalkers. They apparently were in the original game. It's just that there's only 10 of them.
Is
in the
it?
original game.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, there's even a picture of Joel choking a stalker from the first game as well. If you want me to share it.
Nah, it's okay. I believe you.
But the point is like, well, yeah. The point is like, well, stalkers were in the original game, so technically we've only gotten 2 new bouts of infection from the infected: the Shamblers and the Rat King.
Sorry, guys. It's just
Now,
this boss is just so hard. I mean,
play-wise,
Yeah,
this is definitely one of...
Yeah, come on,
totally.
Pedro. Now, you don't like happy, but you gotta focus here. The sooner you can get this done, the sooner we can be rid of this thing.
Yeah, he's right.
again, don't get me wrong. I'm a Resident Evil fan.
I don't know.
I like my
It-
Go ahead.
And now, don't get me wrong, I mean, honestly, I think that it looks pretty cool. Does rip Abby limb from limb.
Indeed. All
Is
right.
that the only reason you think it's cool?
Could we
No,
play
no,
with the
no,
character
Because they
in
ripped Abby limb from limb.
Again, don't get me wrong.
Okay,
I love my
okay,
Resident Evil bosses. I do. That's not the issue. The issue is that this is not Resident Evil. I didn't it just feels so out of and this is the only time it happens, by the way. If this was a more common occurrence since the first game, I would be more willing. But this is literally the one time. It's like they figured out, we want a giant boss, but we didn't have any ideas for one that actually would make sense to be in this universe. But go ahead, Jova.
Well, okay. Again, I can sort of see it making some kind of sense since it's sort of plant-like here and there. And for as realistic as Last of Us is, it's still a world where there are zombies where you can become something as
look at that.
looking as a bloater.
Look at that. It's Pond the baby of sorts.
Yeah, you broke off a bit of it.
How cute.
Like I said before, the Rat King is actually a bunch of cordyceps all merged into one. So you blow a bit off, and a chunk will come off after you.
Here's the strategy for beating him. Stay the fuck away from him. He will kill you in one hit if he touches you. Basically, the idea is to keep running away.
They touch you.
As you can see, what I'm doing is I'm taking advantage of the circular hallways, and then basically I'm just going in circles and having him chase me. There you go. And keep shooting away at him as I can. Just do this until he's dead, basically.
Quick question.
Yes.
Oh, if you're done, sorry.
I'm actually done. Go ahead.
Go on.
But do we ever get an in-game explanation as to where this thing comes from?
No.
Does it just spout limbs randomly? Is it a result of procreation?
Maybe there's maybe there's a note.
okay.
Maybe there's a note
Let
around.
Pedro finish.
Maybe there's a note here and there that maybe explains some context, but I haven't found it.
Sure.
As for me, I do have the answer for you, Shuri. It's basically the result of several cordyceps getting merged together.
Well, it's true, but remember, she asked for an in-game explanation. You read that in the wiki, though. That's the problem. Like, the game itself never actually explains that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I get that. She asked if it was in-game, but she also asked the explanation, like, point-blank as well.
Well, no, I said in-game explanation because honestly, that's where the explanations should be.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question because as far as I know, not seen it.
Because the others get explained, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Like,
God forbid we have another case where, you have to read this supplementary material, or the developers have to explain out of game how they became.
If it's explained out of game, I kind of disregard it.
with the Shamblers, I'm a bit more lenient on it because you can just assume it's a different version of a different branch of the mutation tree, So whatever. It's fairly reasonable. But this thing requires some context and explanation. Come on, this thing is way too over. Sure, your thoughts on the Rat King?
I mean, I'm not really sure what.
Do you think it looks like a cool boss at the very least? Do you think it's a cool? Okay, Dwips.
Yeah?
Yeah, Dwips cares about.
Hold on.
Translation, Dwips doesn't care.
Okay.
I mean, it's a cool design, but I mean, it's a cool design and all, but
That's
I
it.
mean, I know. I mean, I never really liked bosses where you just run away.
Sure.
Oh, so it's about the boss gameplay you don't like. Fair enough.
Well, I think if the design is cool, I would just like an explanation as well.
It's because the game is staying okay. Even though the whole realism angle of the series has now gone off the wall out the door with this boss's look, the gameplay itself is still pertaining to the more grounded.
Pedro.
Yes.
Okay, Pedro, let's be honest. The realism went out the door with the bloaters. Let's be quite honest.
I can kind of believe the bloaters, to be honest. Eventually, the infection and the cordyceps and the fungus would grow, It's reasonable, I would argue.
A bloater is... It still is... Okay, I'd still say a bloater is pretty unrealistic.
Let me rephrase that. Grounded in reality. Not realistic, grounded in reality. There's a difference. As in, like, it's not entirely realistic, but it's grounded in a world that feels similar to the real one, to the point where it's very believable,
I think I agree more with Shiroi's stance that it might have been easier to buy if we got an actual in-game explanation.
Yeah. Well, that's obvious.
Demonstration of how they became this. Like,
in the first game, they explained what the bloaters are.
Easier to buy.
Yeah, in the first game, they explain what the bloaters are. So that explanation is infected, who have been around for very long, and that makes sense because it's a fungus, and fungus will eventually grow. So yeah, it's not that hard to figure it out. Sure, that's enough for me. This,
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere. That's the main issue for me. Like, there's no build-up or foreshadowing to it. It just comes out of nowhere. Again, maybe there's a note somewhere in here that gives some context, but I wasn't able to find it throughout neither of my two playthroughs. And quite frankly, I don't care enough to go try it for a time, to be honest.
Here's what I would have done. You know that scene where Nora's talking to Abby about how stuff's gotten hairy down in the basement of the Seattle hospital? Why not have it be that we have some WLF members talk about, this place was ground zero for where the virus hit Seattle. It's been like over this amount of years, and we've heard rumors of this incredibly rare strain of the mutation that has done something like this. Like, I mean, surely somebody could have maybe done reconnaissance down there. I mean, apparently they've just been sitting on a powder keg of zombies without having any idea of what's been going on down there.
Well, apparently you read in the wiki that's where that this is supposed to be ground zero for Seattle, right? Right. This is where in Seattle, according to the wiki. Well, okay, that's actually a fair enough explanation. If this was the very first outbreak in Seattle, this particular place right here, then I can actually, in that case, this infected has been around for the 20 plus years ever since the apocalypse happened. Okay, that makes sense then. I just wish the game would make that clear then, because never at any point in this game, because never at any point in this game's dialogue is that ever explained to us. We have to, so we just found that out thanks to the wiki, and that's not, I don't even know why not all the wiki people found that idea. Maybe there's some kind of tie-in comic book that explains it or something that I'm not aware. I mean, because The Last of Us Part 1 did have tie-in comics.
They're very good.
The Last of Us Part 1 did have tie-in comics, but they were just supplementary. They weren't necessary. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is a case like that.
Yeah, fuck this place. I agree with you.
Wow, actually agreeing with Abby on something has gotten.
Trust me, Dwebs.
We've reached a point.
Trust me, Dwebs. I don't feel any clean by admitting that. Well, that was a big. Not to mention, Jova. Let's think about this narratively wise. This is basically this game's big lipped alligator moment. It happens out of it comes out of nowhere. It has nothing to do with the plot, and as soon as it ends, it's never acknowledged ever again.
Pedro. I actually wanna draw up on that. That's another bout of wasted plot potential here. Like, okay, so we're shown that the infection is this bad for certain cases, and yet the game just drops it. It's like they're teasing us with the possibility of a bigger bit on the infection plot. But once again, because the zombies take a backseat to the human story here, it's just dropped. Like, at best, what we get was admittedly a pretty cool boss fight. But that's all it is, really. I mean, cool design or whatnot. We can argue till the cows come crying home about whether or not it fits. But in the end, like so many things, it doesn't matter. Because, Abby's campaign is really guilty of the whole introduce something only to barely ever bring it up, if ever again. Jesus. I think this is why it feels like the padding for her campaign is arguably worse than Ellie's. Like, at least with Ellie's campaign, for the most part, they keep plot points around, and by God, the characters aren't nearly as stupid on Ellie's side. Like, hey, the minute they find out Dina was pregnant, they opt to get Tommy and then get the heck out of Dodge. Whereas in Abby's campaign, the WLF happily sends Mel off to battle in the front lines, even while she's pregnant.
A bird and a flower for Hawaii. You'd think it would be like a palm tree or something, but whatever.
Pedro, does the WLF end up disbanding at the end of the game?
I'll get back to you on that.
Because if it does, then from what I've seen of this storyline, no wonder it does. Because everyone running it is an idiot.
Okay. Don't worry, Dwibs. Let's just say you're onto something, but you're not right on the money, but you're onto something. Go ahead.
Roy, your thoughts on the matter at point?
Well, she already said that she thinks it's a cool looking boss, but that's about it.
No, I meant on the. Never mind. What time are you guys at?
16:46, 47, 48.
I'm a bit behind. I'll go ahead to 17:02.
Go ahead. Basically, Lev decided to come in and show up. All right, click. There you go.
Hey.
All right, and now let's use this conveniently placed boat to return home.
That pretty much circumvents the problems from earlier. So, Abby, are you pretty much defecting from the WLF now, seeing as how, you were supposed to be locked up, or are we just not thinking things through again?
That's the thing, Joe. Remember, she's run away to the aquarium, so basically the WLF is not aware that Owen has made that his fort, so...
Well, technically, it was Owen who defected and ran away to the aquarium, Abby hasn't declared whether or not she's actually leaving the WLF yet. Which, may I remind you, the also great WLF are A-okay with murdering children, to which Abby apparently agrees.
All right.
How likable.
All right, get ready, guys, because believe it or not, Abby's about to complete her character, quote-unquote, character arc. Hey, Alice.
Sorry, Gustavo. The guitar ain't helping my mood.
I know, but he's
besides, if you just want to listen to the guitar in isolation by the soundtrack.
Yeah. But look at that. Lev gets over his fear of doggos.
Wait. That was a thing.
It was a thing, but I don't.
It's been brought up a handful of times, actually.
Not that it matters. Don't worry, Dwibs. It's not important.
Oh my God. I think we're about to get it. This scene, which is pretty much what I like to call the Highlander 2 "You're an Idiot" scene of this game.
All right, let's listen then.
They're just kids. Abby, weren't you earlier saying that you were okay with killing kids of the Seraphites because they had it coming to us?
Yeah, she did say that.
Coming to them? When did you change?
She did because Neil demanded her to.
This is what I mean. The game tries to tell us that Abby's changed, but you will see later, no, she is not changed. Now, maybe the idea was that Abby, in trying to get vengeance, became a cold and cruel-hearted girl. Kind of like what the game's trying to suggest is happening to Ellie. Problem is, the game always tries to get us to like Abby. So, yeah, choose one or the other game.
I'm tempted to go ask Teo later if this is medically accurate, if this was at the very least believable. But whatever, I just don't care anymore.
Oh, I mean, they did have to amputate it.
No, I mean, like, the list that Mel gave Abby, if that was the right equipment and Neil wasn't. Oh, there we go. And here, ladies and gentlemen, he is the third and final of Abby's nightmares. Well, Joba, remember, just like the first...
Yes. Technically, this is tied into stuff, but I'll just let you guys wait and see for what happens.
These are terrible.
Well, but hold on, Shiroi. There's a twist this time. Look at that. She dreams about her father being alive all of a sudden.
Get it?
So there you go. This is the quote-unquote end of her arc, as in her act of cruelty in killing Joel didn't bring her inner peace, but her act of kindness in helping these two kids brought her inner peace. And henceforth, the primary theme of this game's compassion trumps cruelty. So there you go.
Game, just screw you, okay? Like, seriously, the kids had nothing to do with her father here, and what? Just because she had two random kids, supposedly makes it better. That's not even beginning to say about what her abandonment of the WLF is going to do to the group, which somehow doesn't have her reeling from guilt. But don't worry, we'll get to that later.
I've already brought up the Doctor Who Slovene argument earlier. So.
What do you think of this dream plot device thing, Shiroi?
Some of them are just really outlandish for what they want us to.
Oh, and now, guys, here comes the love triangle.
Not only that, here comes what I like to call the "you are a moron" scene.
All right, let's see her then.
Can't believe she's on her feet already. Surprise are tough.
How
What are
nice.
they fighting about?
Language, Lev. Jeez.
So, yeah.
Abby taught him to swear, and now he can't stop.
Man.
So Owen invited them to come with him, yeah. Yeah, God forbid someone be nice in this game.
Going by now. Actually, I'm going with them. But not if you come. You may fall for your little act with these kids, but I don't.
What?
Thank you.
I get that. Okay.
No, hold on. Let her read.
It's really a bad time when this character is literally being a voice piece for us.
Yeah, and she's supposed to be a moron.
And there you are. That's the GIF people are going to use for this game.
Yes.
Wait, it gets better.
And Abby has no comeback for that.
There you go. Mel is not the most relatable character.
Get out of their lives before you screw them up.
Oh my god. How fucking
that's the thing.
good.
Okay, it's like in Highlander 2, where McCloud calls out General Katana for sending his goons after him. It's
I know.
You freaking moron. When you get down to it, yes, Abby, you pretty much drag them in on your revenge team squad, and you know what's better?
Joey, even before that bit, earlier on in the movie, where even the goons are pointing out to him how stupid that plan is.
Yeah. The thing is, as we know, Abby's actions will in turn also lead to Mel and Owen getting killed by Ellie on this day, in fact.
That being said, though, there's another thing that I would like to address about that scene that we just saw. Okay, like I said, we all agree with Mel. We're not buying this change of heart. We're not. But let's just pretend for a moment that we are. Let's take a look at from Mel's perspective. Why exactly is Mel all of a sudden, for no real reason...
Wait. Hold on. I gotta point this out. So, the game needs to come up for a reason for Abby to not be at the aquarium on day 3.
Yeah.
So what do? Lev just ran off.
Well, you're kind of
What?
spoiling it, and we haven't gotten to that point yet. But
No. No. I mean, Yara literally just said he ran off, and she wants Abby to help look for him.
Well, yeah, he ran off, but we still don't know. We still haven't gotten to the part where he steals one of the boats and leaves. So,
Well, I wasn't going to mention that yet. That's spoiling.
well, whatever. The basic gist of it is, yeah, Mel literally just had a complete 180 in her behavior. Like, she has literally no. Okay, yes, don't get me wrong. Yes, it is. I can buy her. I can understand her being weirded out and asking, "Why are you doing this? It's so weird for you to just be helping these two scars." But instead, she immediately assumes that this is secretly a ploy to make Owen fall for her again and steal Owen from her. And it's a love triangle. Okay, you have no reason to think this, Mel. Literally no reason. Abby, as far as you've seen, has given no signs that she still wants to fuck Owen. We know she does, but from her perspective, she has never seen any evidence of this. She has literally... You can argue maybe it's her jealousy speaking, but at the same time, it just comes across as soap opera love triangle bullcrap.
I suppose, to Mel's credit, Abby literally did screw Owen.
Oh, she did, but at the same time, immediately jumping to that conclusion that she's just helping these two just so that Owen will bone her.
But don't you see, Pedro? It's like the game mentioned earlier. Mel hates Abby.
Hey, Shira, guess what? Now we get to play fetch with Alice.
Just to make you feel all the more sorry for killing her.
You see, Dwebs? Dwebs? Don't you? Isn't it so horrible how Ellie killed this nice doggo?
Never would I have thought in a game a game that has the word Last of Us in the title, you'd be playing fetch.
But don't you see? It's to have a nice.
It'd be like in the Final Fantasy game if all of a sudden we were forced. You know, the characters are in a QTE when they're trying to get through being in a children's TV show.
Well, if it helps you, Dwebs, the playing fetch in this is optional. You can just move on if you want to. You don't have to play fetch with Alice.
But you had to make us see how terrible Ellie is.
Exactly. See, and look at that. Now, look at that. Even Yara's playing with Alice. See, Shiroi? See how evil and bad Ellie is and how much...
She didn't deserve to die.
You know, I should probably point out that Mel calls out Abby for the terrible person she is, and Mel ends up dead.
Yeah, there's that too.
Is
yeah.
the writer trying to tell us something?
Gee, you think? You see, Shiroi? See how much cooler Abby is, Shiroi?
I mean, you could argue that, you know, Ellie was trespassing and, you know, this is a trained guard dog, but she was still under attack, so Ellie's response was, you know, pretty normal, I'd say.
Like, here's the major...
But she killed a doggo still, so there's no justification.
Oh yeah, so she's a total bitch. Never mind.
Here's the major issue with this whole thing. Abby seriously did not expect any repercussions from killing Joel, mind you, also torturing him, even though she knew that he at the very least had a brother, and then later had someone who looked up to him as a father, since they were literally in the same room. But she thinks, oh, I just left them alive. They'll appreciate that enough not to come after me.
So, Shiroi, does this game having... a nice doggo called Alice who gets killed. I'm guessing it ticks you really off. It's like it was a personal attack.
What Neil does with it ticks me off.
No, but this feels like a personal attack, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah. The old truckman knows where you live.
No, it's like okay. I love dogs too. So if that dog was called Vanessa, I would be pissed off personally because okay, now you're just okay. I get that you didn't aim this at me specifically, but it still creates some effect.
Yeah, but the thing is, the dog is named Alice, but my Alice isn't a bitch, so you know, just
no. But
True. Okay. Guys, we're talking over all the character development.
Bitch, because bitch is a term for a dog.
Thank you,
and also
thank you, Dwebs.
Thank you,
Thank you, Dwebs. That was the joke. Yes.
You suck, McBrain.
Please don't overly explain it. But guys, we're talking over all the great backstory regarding Yar and Lev.
Yeah.
About when Lev
Don't worry. Don't
came
worry.
out and
Don't worry.
formed.
Don't worry. I'll recap after it's done. Actually, I think it's done now.
Basically what happened was Lev came out to Yar. Her first instinct was to hit him for it, not because, she was transphobic, but because of apparently the laws and traditions of the Seraphites.
Yeah, she'd been indoctrinated, so that was her reaction to him.
Eventually, Yara got over it though, because her love for her brother spoke higher. However, unfortunately, you shaved his head, which is also a big no-no in the scars. Yeah. However, unfortunately, their mother is a very devout religious scar, meaning she will never stand for this. In fact, she will even go out of her way to kill Lev if she sees him again.
Kind of getting a bit ahead of ourselves on that.
Well, actually, Yara is about to tell us that in a couple minutes anyway. So.
California. Okay, so look, this is Seattle, and this is San
Is that true, Jova? Is she describing it geographically properly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure Naughty Dog will at least be competent enough to have a map in their office.
so far.
Yes, it's so far. So
Well, to be fair, from the
outside.
when you look at the map, it seems close, but when you're actually going from the one place to another, it's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Again, it's annoying how callously Naughty Dog wrote out the Seraphites. We get it; they're a religious cult. The problem is that they're a religious cult war against technology, but that goes immediately out the window when you realize the fact that they use guns and other bouts of technology to stay on level. It's like, here's an idea. Make a religious cult that, yes, while insane, makes some thematic bout of sense here. Like, when
I've
you
got
literally
a
have them
better
break...
idea.
What? Oh,
Don't rip off Star Trek Insurrection.
Yeah,
I don't like that movie.
too.
I don't like that movie, but sure, I guess.
I mean, it's like I said.
But that's what I meant. Don't rip it off. I mean, it was bad there and it's bad here.
Oh, you meant like that. Okay. Oh,
like
Rosebud. There you go.
Yeah, honestly, that's a thing. The whole Seraphites thing feels like something that's a fraction of a completely other different plot that's missing many puzzle pieces. But like I said, that's kind of this game in a nutshell. A bunch of plots all smushed together that feel like they should have been their own games, but they're merged into this.
But that's okay, because guess what? We're actually going to learn one more thing about Lev right now. Okay, so we already know that he's not that big on dogs. Guess what his favorite animal is?
Cats.
No.
Dogs. He was lying about hating dogs.
Sharks.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting choice.
I guess he's like the world's biggest fan of Shark Tale. Then.
Yeah. Yara's about to say yeah. There you go. It's perfect. Yeah, there you go. It's perfect. Apparently, Lev is a big shark person.
Wait.
Oh, look at that.
It smells wrong.
You're a good person.
Do you love Abby yet? Do you love Abby?
Even Abby doesn't buy into that bullshit, and you're talking about her.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Aquarium.
Yeah, well, an aquarium. My stuff.
My car, my soul.
Quantic Dream would be proud of you, Neil.
Have you seen Lev?
Yeah, he was down that hall. Can I talk to you?
Oh, goody. It's time for another talk. So, will the assembly for you guys on the floor again this time?
Fortunately, she's in a much better mood today.
Oh, so no sex, thank God.
Well, remember, Jova, now she's quote-unquote got over her father's death, so now she's much better.
You know, that's the thing. At best, I can see that sex scene as a very annoying and ugly scene. At worst, I can see it as Abby using it literally to manipulate Owen, just so she can get out of answering him the question. God, she's a terrible person.
It's too late.
No, it isn't.
No, seriously, Owen, it's too late. I already know you're gonna die.
That beautiful soap opera dialogue. It's beautiful. We can choose to be happy. There you go. You see, Shiroi? We can choose to be happy.
Not if you.
Did someone
No.
from Coronation Street sneak over and rewrite this bit?
Apparently.
I'm sorry. Oh,
I know I should be saying a more American example, but I don't
There you
know
go,
any
see?
American.
Oh, listen here.
Hey.
Hold on. His mom, yeah. There you go. See, she told it right now. There you go. So there you go. Because Lev is still very attached to his mom, which is understandable because he's still a kid. He still wants to go in there because he still has hopes of reconciliation with his mom.
Oh, this is gonna be terrible.
Exactly.
You're right. It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay. If I get where I think this is going, it's like I said earlier. The transphobia coming from the bad guys, I get. If it was coming from say Abby, who we're meant to sympathise with, then I'd have a problem.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Dribs. That's the least of this game's issues.
I'll
though.
get to
It
why
is an
it's an
issue.
issue when this is all said and done. Pedro kind of already knows.
Let me put it like this, though, Dribs. Believe it or not, the Scars are not the worst people in this game. No, that
Wait, what?
is the W. Believe it, sure, as I've hinted at, the WLF are going to turn out to be way worse than the Scars.
Why does
by
it
the
sound
end
like
of
a
this
wrestling
game.
organization?
I disagree.
Yeah, the WLF.
I disagree.
Or football, I don't know.
WLF, the world's greatest post-apocalyptic wrestling federation.
Oh no,
Let me put it like-
with that I agree. But honestly, Joe, for as bad as the WLF are, I've never seen the WLF take a child and literally mercilessly break that child's arms with a hammer.
Okay, Pedro, we know that the WLF kill children. Who's to say they
True,
haven't done that worse?
but they don't torture them.
Let me finish. Also, the Scars have not ever encouraged genocide. Don't get me wrong, the Scars are terrible people, but the WLF are even worse. What's even worse is that we're really going to figure out that the WLF are the reason the Seraphites are like this.
Well, remember, we already established this. Remember when Abby was talking to Isaac and they were planning to take advantage of the storm, and during that storm they're going to attack the Seraphites island and kill them all. So.
Oh, yes, basically genocide. How nice. So, yeah, but it gets even worse when we figure out more details about why the Seraphites are the way they are. That's because of what Isaac and the WLF did regarding,
Remember, Jova, we have to teach the audience that violence is bad.
And okay, here's the one thing. Yes, transphobia is terrible. And do not get me wrong, the Scars are terrible people. But the WLF are arguably the reason the Scars became that way, and the WLF continue to antagonize them, constantly pushing stuff, and are pushing for literal genocide. Like, there's being transphobic, and then there's acting on actual murder here.
Well, yeah, it's his mom. I understand that. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, though, it's about Lev and believing that they can't leave their mother behind, aka padding also a reason for Abby not to be at the aquarium when Ellie storms the place.
You know what this also means?
Sorry.
You know what this also means, by the way, guys? This means that now, even though Abby's character arc is now over, and now the game has now finally made its point of compassion triumphing over cruelty, despite that, now we have to have an entire new third day of Abby's, where she goes into this random detour that has nothing to do with anything, where she goes kill the transphobic people. That's literally, look, seriously, narrative-wise, there's no more reason to play as Abby. We should skip to the theater, back to the theater meetup. This third day we're about to start playing has no point. It's literally just filler. Go ahead, Jova.
But don't you see, Pedro? People are still saying that Abby's a terrible person, so now it's time to prove that Abby's changed.
Sure.
Showing off her whole new persona, and like I said, with day 3, the plot fails. It fails so badly suggesting that Abby's changed.
And again, it feels once again incredibly contrived. It's like Neil couldn't find a good excuse to not have Abby and Lev at the aquarium, and Yara as well. So now he has to have all three of them go to the fucking Scar Island to kill all the transphobics. Like.
So
Fucking hell.
what's the moral? Okay, so the moral of this part is if you're going to take inspiration from a Star Trek movie, don't pick one of the worst.
Exactly.
Not only that, but maybe refine the idea better, which they don't. But again, we've already spent enough time on this point.
I mean, you've had since 1998 to try and do a plot like that better, and I don't know of anything that has.
But guys,
I'm gonna say it, Dwebs, they do it worse here than in Star Trek Insurrection. And trust me, I hate that movie. I consider that the worst Star Trek movie of the bunch.
But guys,
It's one of the worst, but yes, Pedro?
But guys, we can choose to be happy.
Not if Neil Druckmann and his writing team have anything to say about it. Hey, there's a TV show for darkness-induced audience apathy, and this game is rife with it.
See you for the next part, everybody.
See ya.